Hey there, tubers. Today's video is going to be on the newest member of my ever-growing Bobcat family, a 2023 E42 R2 mini excavator. Now we're in 2024 now, and this is a 2023 model, so it's a carryover from last year. The dealership made me what I think is a pretty decent deal on it, since it is a carryover. It's the last one they had, so it only came in this package since it was the last one they had, and it has got almost every option on it that a platinum model would have, minus the LED cab lights up top and the rear view camera on the back. Now I did order a rear view camera for this. They're somewhat expensive. I think it was $700 or something like that. So I'll have a video of me installing that. This thing does have the 7-inch touchscreen inside, so it's already pre-wired for the backup camera. So it should be a pretty simple install. The options on this thing are quite immense. It does come with the angle blade. I'm not sure that I really needed an angle blade. This will be the first machine that I've had that's got one. My only kind of hesitation to it is it does stick out obviously further than a regular just standard blade would, and these things tend to be an anchor for these machines. I mean, if you get in mud, the first thing that gets in the way trying to get out is the blade, because you just can't lift it high enough. So with this added length, that could be an issue for me, but I'll find out. I don't really use angles. I mean, about the only thing it might be handy for is backfilling a trench, but I really use the bucket mainly for that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Again, just since this was the last machine, I didn't have a lot of choices on what it came with. It does have the auxiliary hydraulics, which could be handy for me. I don't know that I want to put a hammer on this machine. Hammers tend to, in my opinion, degrade the machines rapidly. I mean, they're hard on them. The hydraulic system and everything is really tasked when you run a hammer on them. But I do have another machine that's an 80 size that was plumbed for a thumb, but I just never put one on. So it's got hydraulics on the side of the boom just like this, and I do run a plate compactor with it, so that always could be an option in the future. But it's handy to have this just in case something comes up and I need it. It did come with a 24-inch tooth bucket. Now my dealership doesn't stock buckets, so I had to order a 60-inch muck bucket, and hopefully that'll be here in a few weeks. So this also came with the hydraulic exchange quick change system on it. These two lines here are what run down to it, run down inside there, and inside here's a hydraulic mechanism that'll pull these pins on each side in or out. Now I've had wedge and pin grabber hydraulic systems for quick changes in the past, and I've had good luck with them. The wedges, you know, as a wedge wears, it just goes further and further in the wedge, and the bucket always stayed tight. Now with the pin grabbers, as they wear, you'll get side-to-side slop with your bucket. But on this system, I'm not quite sure what the longevity is of it. I haven't heard anybody having problems with them, but basically everything this bucket does, or any bucket that you've got on here, these stub shafts carry all that load. That's the whole load of the bucket. That's it, what's in it. And if you're digging with it, anything you hit, or the shock of when you hit stuff, that's all transferred just to these two pins. There's really no other mechanism holding it. You've got, you know, this cast piece with the ears, and I know that'll wear over time. So really, this is what's holding the whole system right there. I haven't read or heard of anybody having major issues with them, so I'm guessing they'll hold up pretty good, but time will tell. Another thing I like is on this H piece here, they cast in a loop so that you could put a shackle in there and pick stuff up. In the past, everything was always a loop welded on the bucket, which works fine. My only hesitation with this would be this is all cast, so I'm not sure how much abuse that can take if you were to shock it somehow when you're picking something up. But it's handy to have, and I'm sure I'll be using that. Now this is what they consider the long arm, which is something I usually don't get. I usually get the standard arms because I like to put thumbs and quick changes on, and when you go and put that much weight on an arm, it kind of makes the machine either tippy or at least feel tippy, and then it kind of limits your over the side how much you can pick up. But Bobcat told me that they haven't had any issues with that on the long arms, so we'll find out. I'm willing to give it a shot. One thing this thing did come with is LED lights. There's just one up here and one right there. That's it. But I don't do a lot of work at night, so I don't think that'll be an issue. I do like the placement of this one up underneath here. Normally they're off to the side and tend to block the light from one side of your boom. But we'll see how that does in the twilight hours. One of the main things on these R2s is the ease of maintenance. This gets you pretty decent access to the engine compartment here, and then right up here is another, and that opens this up into your hydraulic reservoir and all your valving. Battery doesn't look too fun to get to, but not horrible. And your filters. Now this piece just comes off with two little quarter turns there, and then you've got access to your radiators, a fuel filter, hydraulic filter, and such. Now one of the things that was a determining factor of me purchasing this was this engine. This is a Doosan D18 3-cylinder diesel engine, and somehow it's putting out 42 horse, and they said it was such an efficient engine that they didn't have to put a DPF or exhaust fluid system on it. So I'm not quite sure how they're getting around that, but anything that doesn't have a DPF on it is fine by me. The emission crap has just been a nightmare for most manufacturers, and if I can get away with not having to deal with it, I'm going that route. Alright, so I got everything closed up. Let's take a look inside the cab here now. So one of the nice things about this one is that it came with the high back bucket seat, which is what I wanted. I don't care for the mid-back seats in most machines, so I tend to get the high backs. But with Bobcat, one of the things is if you go with the high back, it automatically comes as a heated seat. Now, I don't necessarily need a heated seat. If anything, I'd love to have a cooled seat, because really, when we're out working, it's usually once the ground is thawed out and temperatures are starting to climb, and we get up in the hundreds during the summer, so a cooled seat would be much more beneficial to me than a heated one. But I'm sure the guys that live in the southern states, where it's in the hundreds during the summer and 70s during the winter, they probably want a heated seat. One of the things that's kind of awkward about it is back here behind, on the left hand side as you're sitting in the seat, is the switch that turns this on and off. That's not a real great spot, but I'll manage. And like I said earlier, it's got the 7-inch touchscreen in it, which is nice. I really like all the options you get with that. You can get in there and change a bunch of parameters on the machine. It's definitely going to be handy. It's got the stereo system integrated in it, so you've got 2 speakers up top there. You've got your blade controls here, and then other than that, it's pretty standard. This does come with keyless start, which I'm not a super fan of, just simply because I'm kind of old-fashioned. I'd rather have just a key. So what looks like a key here, that doesn't come out. That stays. You can turn it on, then your glow plugs will come on, which is indicated by a light there. Just wait for that to go out and fire it up. And then when you do shut it off, you turn that to off, and then there's a delay between when that is turned off and the engine actually shuts off. I think it does some kind of diagnostic to make sure everything's okay before it shuts down. But with that, you can't take that in and out, so I think most people would go into the computer here and input a password, so that when you get in, you turn that, enter your password, then you can start it. That way you don't have somebody stealing your machine. Otherwise, you just have a key for the door here, and that's pretty much your only security. Now, like I said earlier, this is a 2023 E42. 23 is supposedly the last year that they'll be making these 42s. 24 will be called an E48. Absolutely nothing different from this machine right here, other than the stickers on the side. And supposedly that's to get them more in line with most manufacturers, that their numbering is tonnage. So if you considered this to be like other manufacturers, you'd go with 4.2 tons, which would make this machine 8,400 pounds. Well, it's far from that. This is a 10,400 and some pound machine as it sits right now, with the long arm, thumb, quick change, angle, blade, and all that. So when they call it a 48, that's basically bringing them in line with their most basic machine. Standard arm, no thumb, no quick change, just a standard blade. You know, where those machines do come in right around the 9,600 pound mark. I think in the past here, like this with this model, the 42 represented the horsepower of the engine more than the weight of the machine. The 50s are a 49.5 horse machine, hence the 50, and the 35s were a 33 horse machine. Of course, they made two options of that, so there was a 25 and a 33, which they're changing those numbering for those machines. So the 25 horse will stay the 35. The 33 horse is now going to be considered a 38. They're just changing a lot of stuff around. But as far as I know, 23 will be the last year they call them a 42. One of the other things that the dealerships like to say is that this is the biggest machine that you can get and still pull it behind your pickup. Well, I kind of question that. Maybe if you get with the base model that weighs 9,600 pounds, but with this one, I can't pull it behind my pickup. I've got a 16,000 pound trailer over there, and this thing, by the time you get it on there, that trailer weighs 3,800 pounds without chains and binders, a spare tire, anything like that. So by the time you get that stuff on there, this machine, and if you had an extra bucket, it's going to be pushing the 16K all day long. And my personal pickup is a little older, and it only has a towing capacity of 9,500 pounds, and it's a 4-door long bed diesel pickup. So you might get away with it if you bought a brand new pickup with the diesel long bed and crew cab, and then got a lighter trailer, but it's questionable as to whether this is the biggest machine you can get and still pull it behind your pickup. But that doesn't really matter to me. I pull them around with dump trucks, so not a big deal. But if that's what you're basing your purchase on, do some math. Make sure that you don't screw yourself by getting too big of a machine. Now, I like this size machine just simply because the 50 is a slightly bigger machine undercarriage wise, but this thing has better numbers when it comes out to breakout force and stuff like that. So this is kind of the perfect size for me. The 35's just a little too small. They're handier to get in spots, but the 50's too big to get into tight spots for me. So this is a good size. Now, my first machine in the minis was a Bobcat 331, and I like that machine, but it was just too small. And I've over the years owned almost every type of mini or manufacturer type of mini out there, and you know, the ones I do like, Takahachis, there's nothing bad I can say about a Takahachi other than the dealerships for me are 4 or 6 hours away. So that's what this one is replacing. I didn't have any problems with my Takeuchi, but just the fact that I'd have to drive that far to go pick one up. Dealerships weren't real keen on matching the prices of like this machine here. I do like cats. I do have a local cat dealer, but the price on those is just insane. You're paying for some paint there. You know, I've got a John Deere dealer here, which now the new John Deeres are built by Wacker Newsom, and the old ones were built by Hitachi. Good machines, but again, you're paying for paint. So the Bobcat was a good option for me. I've gotten a better rapport with my dealership here over the last couple of years. I'll link some videos above and you can see kind of where I started and where I'm at now with these guys. But I'm hoping this is going to be a good machine, and I'll keep you posted as I go along. So if you've got any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.